What up? This is your boy Doughboy.
And Kev on stage.
And this week we're going to start straight up with the righteous.
Oh, straight up.
Ratchet.
You didn't say to the right or the left?
You said straight up.
Oh, I thought we were going to go in down or forward and backwards.
Yes. And we are finally back for another weekly installment. Shout out to the Patreons.
Patreon people are watching this
Pack,
right now,
yes.
live, Right Pack. They get this episode when we shoot them live on Tuesdays, and we stay longer and chat with you guys after. I know I'm talking to them, Josh. Mind your beeswax.
I'm getting nervous.
I'm talking to the people on Patreon who are watching right now because they subscribe to us on Patreon. They get to watch this right now. You may not subscribe to us, so you get to watch this when it's posted on Wednesday. Amen.
Mm-hmm. Hey.
And in addition to what they get now, they get a bonus episode, don't they?
Bonus.
2 times the righteous,
2 times
the ratchet. So we do another bonus episode every week. If you want that action in your life, visit us www.righteousandratchet.com. Join our Patreon. Merch is there as well. We're gonna start doing some pop-up eating dinner with our fans, and only the Patrons will know.
But you've been doing pop-ups by yourself and just eating just ribs. So I think we need to
darkness,
include...
my old friend. So before we get into our topics,
come on, huh?
Doughboy has something on his heart because Doughboy was a sad man.
Yo,
he
man.
ain't hit me this week. I knew something was off with you too.
That's how I know we're pretty good friends.
I said, hey man, I text you Happy Mother's Day. You didn't respond. I'm like,
first of all, I'm not a mother.
But you need to, I mean, you
right,
be
normally it would be,
you be breastfeeding. And I was like, okay, that's odd. He didn't hit me back. And then I hit you again on Sunday and you didn't hit me. And then I hit you again on Sunday like, look, I'm pulling up. You don't just be leaving me unread, delivered with no response. What's
good friend you are.
And you were like, I'd be sad.
I got sad, guys.
Why you got sad? And he, by the way, hasn't told me why he was sad. He just said I was feeling my feelings.
So everybody knows, like, you know, me going through my whole sobriety thing, and I always talk about, hey, X amount of days, 535, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And that's always good. But I think that the biggest thing for me, as far as staying sober, is learning how to deal with my feelings. Because a lot of the times,
my feelings. I was gonna get that joke off.
I know you were.
I know you're going through trouble, but LMA made a song that had that.
It was hot.
Smash.
No, but as I said, I wanted to ask if you ever do this, because I do this to myself a lot, and then it just kind of
beat yourself up.
Yes, but this is how it happened. I sometimes get on myself if I haven't reached certain markers in my life by a certain age. So like now that I'm about to be 40, like I just got totally depressed because I was just like, I'm not married. I'm not gonna
Marry Me at Once hasn't worked.
No, and I'm telling you. So this
Marry Me at Once. No, Marry Me at Once.
I thought this would work.
Marry Me at Once. Maybe I put the inflection. Marry Me at Once. Marry Me at Once.
So I just went through. So like,
why do you feel like? And I'm asking you, and I feel this way too.
Right.
Why do you feel like a certain age doing a certain thing defines that thing as good?
I
You
don't
weren't
know
married before it was trash.
But see, that's the thing, though. That's when I got married. That time, it was similar thoughts. So what I kind of came to the realization of, and this is where I did feel a victory. So I went through whatever I went through, and I was just like, Tony, you're gonna just have to go through this. And
you call yourself Tony when you're going through?
I call myself that in the third person.
Not Doughboy? Hey, Tony, listen to me.
So I was just like,
I know you're going through some tough times right now.
I was like, Tony, you're going to have to allow yourself to feel these feelings. So go through whatever it is that you think it is and just think it all the way out and then just deal with that. So I was just like, all right.
So old you would have went to the bottom when you felt that. I would have,
absolutely. And
like, I'm 40, I'm not married.
Exactly.
Glub.
That was actually the win of the whole situation, that when I went through the whole thing, I never once thought I need to drink. It was, I need to go through this and I need to feel this. So I had to go through it all the way and just be like, what if you just don't end up married? Like, what if this, like, I had to just kind of go through it. Just like, what if this whole thing happens in your life? And
what is it about marriage that you feel like is it
represents family to me.
But you already have a beautiful daughter.
I know, but it's just like, like, I want like that whole, like, even when I was at your surprise birthday party, you said something really, really key. You were talking to Melissa, and you were like, everybody kept asking me, what I wanted for my birthday, but I got what I want. I got somebody to share this life with. And like,
that made you sad?
I don't want to say it made me sad, but it's just like, it made me recognize that deficiency, like that I don't have it. I cried, man.
At my party?
No, not at your party.
I was about to be like,
I cried this Saturday. So I thought about it and I was just like, bleh. So I like cried.
You didn't even get in the shower?
No, I didn't get in the shower. I let myself.
You let tears run?
I let myself go through it.
I know your apartment be dark because you always want to sit in the lair.
And I just sat in it. And
did you make sounds?
Huh?
Did you?
No, I had a couple little breaths.
Yeah.
Because it was like sad. I was just like, but then I got through it and I was just like, Okay. And
How
then
did you cope if you didn't use alcohol?
I just allowed myself to feel my feelings. However,
What does that mean?
It was, I didn't run away from it. I didn't do anything to make me feel better. I just, I just walked through it, and then I was okay. Then I started to kind of remind myself of all the other good things going on in my life, and you know what I'm saying? But I wanted to ask you this. Do you ever have those moments? I mean, obvious not with, a marriage or anything, but do you ever have like markers in your mind that if you don't reach it by a certain level, you feel like you're losing? And how do you
I have stupid
fight
things.
out of that?
Let me tell you what I have. This is gonna sound dumb, but I don't care. This is the truth. I don't know why. I be like, man, I'm laughing already because how silly this is. I be like, man, LeBron James is younger than me. He already won an NBA championship.
Man, that's real though.
Oh my God, I think like that too.
I'm not even in the NBA. How could I even do that?
I think that's a bigger parallel thought than we know though. I think a lot of people have at least thought of that before at least once or twice. Especially when you see, I mean, like, case in point, when Chance the Rapper was popping off, I was like, oh man, he's 23 years old.
He's
I'm
23.
I do that all the time.
Now, mind you,
People are
I'm
popping.
35, and Chance is 25.
I'm deficit in my bank account. Like,
It's tough.
My bank account, all I could buy is a coloring book. Comparison is the thief of joy.
Ooh.
That, and I feel like social media has put that more prevalent in our minds because we all just post the best days, right?
Yes,
when I didn't have a haircut the other day, the camera was that way. I just didn't feel like shaving my hair. I knew we had a shoot today. I didn't do it. So we only post the best picture. My birthday party. We don't post a random Thursday when your laundry's overpiling, right? But we all have those moments. And the thing is, you got a timeline of, say you follow like 1,500 people on Instagram, right? Which I do. That's all it's not
all
even 1,500
the happiness
people.
and joy.
Highlights.
It's
all highlights.
It's 100 people who are having that best day right then. But the thing is, every time you look on Instagram,
you're seeing the best
stuff. Somebody's having this and they're achieving that and they're winning an award and you're just sitting home wallowing. You ain't even taking a shower yet. You're a little musty, but it's a constant reminder. And here, no, let me tell you something else, right? Here's the thing that's funny about this. There is somebody who's looking at you and they're like, this dude, Doughboy, is living the life. He works for himself.
So crazy.
He gets to go on tour. He don't have no standard 9-to-5 job. He's making enough money podcasting, and here I am at this stupid job, and they're older than you or younger than you, or he don't even do stand up like I do. And look, and he's on tour with Kev. How? He don't even be up there. There's somebody comparing their life to your life.
So we're all doing it.
We're all doing it. Melissa drives me insane, right? Melissa says anytime out of her mouth, oh, I gotta work out. I'd be like, girl, if you don't hush. Melissa is in great looking shape, right? Not physically, she's not in great condition as far as like I be running and stuff, but looking shape, she'd be like, oh, I really let myself go.
What?
I'd be like, yes.
That's so crazy.
She looks at the body she has and says, I've got to start working out. Somebody, now this is funny, right? I follow this dude. He was 300 something pounds, right? And I'd be posting, man, I really got to get it together. He's like, I would dream to be 250. If I could get to 260. Remember when you were 485?
Yes.
260 would have been perfect.
I remember praying to be under 300.
Under 300. Now you're under 300.
Yeah.
And you ain't happy about that. This is not a slight to you.
No, it's
just all about perspective. Like, we spend so much of our life comparing our worst to somebody else's best. And it's not even apples to apples. I think we should only compare ourselves to the best version of ourselves. Are you achieving your life dream based on what you want to do?
Yeah.
Because I compare myself to Issa Rae all the time. We started similar time. She's a little bit ahead of me in everything, skill.
I was gonna be like,
a little bit ahead of me. Been a fan of hers forever.
Right.
But me and Tone were talking about this. You're on tour. We're talking about Tone has watched Tiffany Haddish blow, Gerard Carmichael, Kevin Hart. You talk about being on the same stage.
I remember Gerard Carmichael came out here right around the same time as I did.
Right. So he's had shows, he's had specials. He obviously has more money than either of us, right? But that doesn't mean you're not winning. You got to run your own race for your own life. I don't even be wanting. I wouldn't want the life other people have. Like Issa Rae, for example, love her. But it hasn't been my dream to sell my show to a network television show. I literally be comparing myself to Issa and not thanking God that I am on my own independently promoted tour. You know how many comedians would love to, would never even want to do nothing else. It's working.
Right.
It's working. Selling out. And when we don't sell out, like I was thinking about this. This is silly.
10K shy.
Chicago 10K shy, right? Nah, I ain't gonna make it. I just ain't gonna hold y'all. It ain't gonna make it.
Right.
But I sold almost 3,500 tickets. And I be looking at 60. Oh man, I'm 6,000 away. It is by far the biggest show I've ever had.
Why do we do that to
I don't know.
ourselves?
And there's nothing I can do to get this 10K. Like I've done radio. I bought the amount of ads I bought on Facebook and Instagram. Melissa was like, Kevin, at this point,
you gotta stop.
Every $30 or $10 ticket you get costs you $10. So it's not really worth it. You know, like I think I have at this stage in my career, there's a certain amount of people who can go on that day, whatever that is. And I know I'll sell more tickets, but the bottom line is if I would have told my own self 2 years ago, bro, 2 years, you're going to independently produce your own tour and you're going to sell 3,000 tickets in Chicago on your own, no promoter. I wouldn't believe it. And now I'm
You're
sad
doing it, and it's not
because I didn't reach 10K. You got to watch this Brene Brown documentary on Netflix.
Okay, what's
she
it
was
called?
talking about? It's called The Call, Serena. Something about The Call. Melissa just watched it. I only caught a piece of it, and I thought I was the only one. She said that one of the hardest human emotions to feel is vulnerability.
Oh, man.
She said, how many times, and I know you've done this, right? She said, when things are going too well in our life, and we should watch it before the next episode. The Call to Courage. She said, when things are going right in our life, we think, well, something bad has to happen.
Oh my God, I've been feeling like that for like the past week and a half.
The other shoe has to
I've
drop.
been waking up in cold sweats like I'm gonna lose everything. Everything is gone.
I feel like I'm gonna
That's really a thing.
We're gonna be
crazy.
honest and vulnerable.
Yes.
I be thinking, what if Doughboy dies in a car accident and I can't do the podcast? I couldn't even do nothing. Let me tell you another one. This always happens to me. Love my kids. I go in their room when they're asleep, look at them. What if they die? What if they get their school shot up? What if they die in a car accident? What if they get some disease? Like them being alive and healthy just seems like too many things are. And she mentioned that specifically in the documentary, it's not really a documentary. It's more like a really extended TED Talk. And she was talking about how she let her daughter go to prom, and as she was leaving with the boy, her first thought was like, car crash. Right? And we just cannot just be happy. And the people who are the most happy are.
I thought I was really going crazy because I was like thinking like that. Like
no,
recently.
I be thinking.
And it came out of nowhere because I was just like, why are these thoughts coming now and things are actually going good?
You finally.
I got attacked like by my own mind.
Yes.
That was so
Bro, your
weird.
mind is an organ.
It was like, you're not going to ever.
You have to condition your mind like in a way that you work out another body, and that's putting positive thoughts in your head. That's approaching stuff differently. Like for me, like I hate social media sometimes because I see a lot of people that are doing stuff that started later that I know that role I could have been doing.
Right.
You know, and like for me, I had to approach it differently instead of like, oh man, like it would almost attack me every single time I'd go and I'd start scrolling and then it gets deeper and deeper. Instead, like now I know whenever I start feeling that way, I just get off. Just because like it's almost
negative thought loops. Joshua put me onto this thought.
Amir put me onto that initially.
Okay.
But
negative thought loops. So Josh explained it to me this way. And I explained, because my son, JoJo, goes through this, right? He hates school. So here's what I told him. And I gave him the best parental advice. And he was just like, at the end, he was like, are you done? He's like, can I go? But here's what happens. He doesn't like school, right? He never has. Just the kid does not like school. So now they have their standardized testing. It's called the SBAC. And they have it once a week on Wednesdays, like for the rest of the school year, like 6 weeks. Okay. So he doesn't like the SBAC on Wednesdays. So on Wednesday, he knows he has to take it. So on Tuesday night, he's like, oh, as soon as I go to sleep, I'm going to have to wake up. When I wake up, I'm going to have to go take the SBAC. And then I'm going to be taking the SBAC at school. So when Wednesday completes, he's not happy that the SBAC's over. He's just like, now we have 4 more left. So now I only have 6 days until I have to take this again. And I don't like the SBAC. And I also don't like school. So now I don't like going to sleep because it means I have to go to school. And now when it's 5 o'clock, I'm not being like, this is happy. I'm happy it's 5 o'clock. That's only 4 hours till I have to go to bed. And then the next thing you know, you're sad about the SBAC on Saturday night, because it's three days away.
And that affects your entire day. And whatever's going on that day, that could be an amazing like opportunity, like whatever gig you're working or whatever like your family's together, you know, like you start missing out on all the stuff that's present.
Yes.
You know, and like that alone is a thief of joy, because then you're drifting more in your own headspace to get deeper and deeper, not recognizing that trigger of whatever caused what first thought got you to that point.
Exactly. And we're not even thankful to God for what we have.
Right.
It's never enough. Melissa and I talk about this all the time. We're in a position where we have a company, we're hiring people are depending on us, which is pressure. People like, if you mess up, if I mess up, people lose their jobs.
We get dragged, something.
If I get dragged or canceled, it affects you. It affects Josh. It affects Serena. It affects Melissa. Goolsby, my brother-in-law, just started at the company. First day today. Merchandise operations. He got a family.
Right.
My sister-in-law.
That's baby on
Baby
stage.
on stage father.
That's the father of baby
Quit
on
his
stage.
good, clean job.
Right.
To help us build this company. I get dragged, people start canceling me, so that's pressure. But I could take that as pressure, or I could take that as, man, this is an amazing opportunity to build something with people I love. But we tend to think about that as negatively. And we, like Josh said, I'm training myself to be grateful for this opportunity, because, man, when I was at Boeing, I hated every second of it. But even then, I could have still been more thankful. And I got this job. Boeing time, I was making $50,000 a year. And I was just like,
balling.
Should I get a Rolls?
A Rolls?
A Rolls Royce? Because me and Melissa made over $100K. We owned our own home, kids in private school.
Right.
Don't at me. Boy, it don't get no better. And I was miserable because I wanted to do this. And then I'm doing this.
And then it's another.
I look at people like Lena Waithe, who is producing like literally 7 shows right now. She has an Emmy for Master of None. The Shy is amazing. I'm not even a writer.
I didn't know those are both hers.
Yes. Well, Master of None, she wrote that episode.
Okay.
It's Aziz's show. She wrote that episode, and she was. And then now she's just in Westworld.
Just
popped
in it?
up.
Just
Just
I'm about to ask.
Here we go. Action.
Yvonne Orji was with us at ADD working on a script that we never produced. She passed us.
Oh, yeah.
House in the Hollywood Hills.
No, this.
My brother, whom I love, went to his house in Chicago. Whew!
No, this is.
Better much nicer.
On the show that we produced, the pilot, the people that was either passed on it or they're all
Real
killing.
TV shows. We passed on this
We
one,
passed
dude.
on them. And they out here killing it. We like, hey, man,
Passed
you
on
got
us.
any
We
work?
next saw him. We passed on this dude. I'll never
Oh my
forget this.
God.
So I was like, bro, people in Hollywood don't know nothing. And we are people in Hollywood. Passed on this dude, Josh. The next time I saw this dude, he was on a billboard on Sunset Boulevard.
Yes.
I was like, oh, so you made it out okay.
And the girl that we passed on is killing it.
Oh, yeah.
She's everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
In our defense,
We wanted her.
We wanted her and
We
him.
fought hard for
the
her.
network
Yeah,
said the network actually said
Network.
this girl was too pretty.
Who?
They said she was too pretty to be
mans?
believable as an around the way girl.
What-
I had
what-
never
what do-
seen that happen
what do
to
any
a
of us
row.
know?
Man.
How much time we got?
I was gonna say we're getting to that point, but I did want to circle back. Though part of that process of like growth in general, and I was talking to this girl about this conversation actually yesterday, just randomly. But part of growth in progress is being content with where you are in your own race, in your own marathon. Looking around and be like, all right, I'm not there yet where I thought I would be, but I'm at a way better position than I was even yesterday, last year,
Right.
5 years ago. When were you working in insurance?
That was back in 2000.
When I met you,
14, yeah.
Gardena,
Yeah.
Diamond Bar me,
480.
480 with the broken
Stealing
down
lunches.
desk, a Dell laptop with duct tape on it.
And you recognize the progress all
You're
the time.
sober. Yeah. You're alive.
I know, but see, that's the.
I'm not.
I know, no.
I have mine too.
This is the thing. This is the
Absolutely.
thing that I've learned about myself. It's tough for me to stay in the moment because my mind always goes too far in front or too far behind.
That's when you have to
Things
catch
that I
it.
can't
That's when you have to
even
catch it,
control. So I'm trying to learn how to stay grounded.
That's
in
good
right
to
now.
know about
Yeah.
yourself. Know yourself.
Yeah.
And know. Listen.
It's finding your triggers, man.
Find your triggers. And like Josh said, sometimes get off social media like.
Oh, and that's what it was. Oh, that's another thing that I found out because I didn't know why it just happened all of a sudden. But I realized what this weekend was. It was Mother's Day, big holidays. I start to feel inadequate because of family. So it's just
That
like
makes a lot of sense.
It starts to click,
And I
then it's-
text you Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah,
And you were
and
like,
so, like-
I'm not married.
So- So that's the thing. So then it makes me feel like, oh, I'm a bad son. I don't talk to my mom enough. I'm chasing this so much. I'm never around. Like it just starts.
You
to make
can't
me,
win in your own mind. You're a bad son because you work too hard, and also you're not happy enough because you don't work hard enough.
But the good thing about it was that I did take some value in and some happiness in that. I'm starting to not run away from those confrontational moments with my feelings.
Yes, I want to get to that point. I want to say something. Hold that thought. Speaking of men who have trouble sometimes in the bedroom, or sometimes you just want a little bit more enhancement, our good friends at Blue Chew are there for you. You know, it could be depressing wanting to not have sex and not being able to rise to the occasion. Mm-hmm. I haven't hit that point in my life yet, but I want to release a lot of this episode is about releasing some of the stigma with that, about being a man and crying, about being unable to perform at a high level when you want to. Blue Chew, I've tried it. Mm-hmm. I like it. I know if my ED starts to kick in, I already got a plan. Because when my kids start moving out, I need them to move out, and I still need to be as strong as I can be. Mm-hmm. If I start to be weak, I know Blue Chew will help make me strong. It's a chewable. It's the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredient as Viagra and Cialis, so you know they work. You can take them anytime, day or night, even on a full stomach, which I know you always have. Mm-hmm. And since they're chewable, they work up to twice as fast as the pill. You can be ready whenever the opportunity arises. I can attest. Blue Chew is, remember gummy bears bouncing through? That's Blue Chew for your peen. As soon as you take it, it's ready to go. It's been really helpful for me when I travel and tour. I'd be exhausted, but I'd be ready to go. You feel me? I'm always ready, especially when I have Blue Chew. They're made in the USA, and since Blue Chew prepares and ships direct, they're cheaper than a pharmacy. Right now, we got a special deal for our listeners. Visit BlueChew.com and get your first shipment free when you use our special code RR.
RR.
Just pay $5 shipping. Again, that's BLUE. Chew.com, promo code RR to try it free. Blue Chew is the better, cheaper, faster choice. And we thank them for sponsoring the potty. I love the potty. I've been starting to say love hour.
All right, last thing I wanted to say, and then we'll move on to the topics. You can say more
things if you want.
Man,
I want to
say
something before you move
man.
on.
It's mental health awareness
While we're talking about this, one thing that I think could be helpful for you that you stopped doing, and I think you should revisit. Therapy.
Yes, I need to go back because I don't have benefits no more. When you gonna start offering us benefits here at Kev On Stage Studios? Huh?
Therapy is not necessarily important for everyone.
No, I do need to go back because I was doing.
I
better.
think we finally the stigma of therapy in the Black community, in the male community, is lifting. Yes. And I think it's okay for adults, kids, marital couples. My sister-in-law just started going to therapy. I think having someone help you navigate your feelings is good. The same way I hired a trainer to help me navigate the weight loss journey that I'm on.
And shout out to Kev. He is out here losing weight. We still are on this weight loss challenge.
246. I started at 260.
Yeah.
About 5 weeks ago, and I had a picture of it, and I've been putting them in my highlights. I weighed myself 2 days ago after a terrible weekend. I hurt my neck. We didn't talk about that in the podcast.
No,
we did.
No,
we talked about it on the bonus episode.
Briefly, right.
I was trying to be strong. I was lifting with Greg, 35 pounds, and I threw the weight, and it.
Oh no!
And my neck was like I had to perform in San Diego with a neck that was like in intense pain. Yeah. And
that's when your body reminds you that you're 36.
I'm 36. All of 36.
36, fam.
Drop weights. Don't throw them.
Yeah, I'm dropping weights now. Right. So Greg is helping navigate me through that. I think a therapist, and the thing about you help you because you had alcohol as a coping mechanism, you have a lot of years of untrained coping mechanisms.
Absolutely.
You didn't have any healthy coping mechanisms. So you weren't even feeling your feelings. You haven't just sat there and cried, which it is fine.
Bro, it is.
It is so cathartic.
It felt better
to cry. I cried. We talked about this on a couple podcasts, or maybe the Nipsey Hussle thing. When all those black men were getting killed.
Oh, we talked about that. Yeah.
I was in Seattle by myself, driving to a show in a rental car, stopped at a red light. I looked to the right, to the left. There was no cars. Next thing I know, I was...
no pedestrians? Tears!
Go. I sat through probably 3-4 cycles.
I think you have to do that.
Crying has such a negative connotation, and it's not even like... You can cry when you're happy. You get overwhelmed with joy, just all the good stuff that's going on around you. If you sit in that thought and like... I don't know, tear just streams down your face. It might happen, man.
Did you cry at Dreamville?
No, I didn't cry. Actually, I did during the Nipsey tribute. That was
I've cried
during Avengers, and not when the spoilers lifted. Not when Iron Man died.
You also cried in The Notebook.
I ain't never seen The Notebook.
Two things can be true.
I cried in the Avengers when they all got back together and they were just charged, and I was like, I'm so glad.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I was happy, and then a tear. I didn't even know where it came from. I cried at The Croods.
The Croods.
The Croods is an animated film. You probably haven't seen it. It wasn't wildly successful, but my kids, we were taking them to everything. And The Croods was basically about a dad who was providing for his family, who was finding it hard to do so as they had to move, and he lost control of stuff. Okay. And I was like, I too am a caveman father. And I was crying. I'd be crying.
I cried when Will Smith got the job in Pursuit of Happiness.
Yeah.
The clapping scene.
When we were in San Diego, I randomly watched the Will Smith Why He Don't Want Me, Uncle Phil? Because it was like the 25th anniversary of that episode.
Cried on it?
It hit me like the first time.
Yeah.
By the way,
He took the air out of the room in there.
fun fact, it is a myth that he drew from his own life of not having a father.
Because he had a
And
father.
that his father was very much in his life. Interesting acting thing, the article talked about this. What he thought about is how close he was with his father and how what he would feel like if he didn't have that relationship.
Jesus.
Wow.
Will just gets it.
And they say that's
Will
great
just
acting
gets it.
technique. There's a technique called substitution that I used to teach when I used to teach acting. Shout out to Tasha Smith. She helped me start my acting school.
You taught an acting class?
Where I was
are
doing
you?
when I got fired, I was doing anything possible. Actually, it was pretty lucrative for a while there, and then people just stopped paying me. I couldn't help them get roles, and there wasn't that many roles in Seattle to get.
Oh, you taught this in Seattle?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Tasha Smith paid to
Oh,
start.
hold on. Before I forget my thought of the thing that I want
What's
to
your thought?
Finish
before
the
I want
thought.
to leave
Finish
it.
the thought. Don't
This is a
forget
serious question I want to ask you guys. 'Cause this is, as I kind of work through all my feelings, I was like, all right, well, how do you start to make, so this doesn't happen so
Yeah.
much? And so I told myself, I was like, Tony, you need to love yourself better.
Yes.
Love yourself more.
Yes.
You begin to
Right?
love yourself.
How do you do that?
How do you love
I
yourself?
don't really know how to
I feel like
properly love
we've
myself.
We've talked about this before.
I don't know how to do it.
Remember, you set the plan to have a weekly self date.
And you always try to bring the world in on your stuff. Let me go live on my cardio.
Hey, guys.
Let me be on my phone when I'm at a date. You
Wipe my
must.
sweat. Wipe my sweat.
I've been actually doing less of that because we do the bonus episodes. I used to do that type of stuff on Periscope. Now sometimes I just
Be present,
be
man.
present.
So,
I remember
what are you saying? You spend some time alone?
I'm gonna
for
tell you what I
self-love?
did,
Off your
which
phone.
felt so weird.
Okay.
That's hard, too.
I was, I'm trying to incorporate more walking into my life so I can beat you in
But you
this
just been
challenge.
walking around all you can eat buffets, and it made sense in my head at first.
So I was walking to, I was getting Melissa's car clean because the fantastic husband I am. And what I usually do is walk or take her car, Uber back to my house, drive my car, get it clean, and then take one back, Uber back. But I walk. The car place is maybe a mile away.
Wow.
Sorry.
It's a lot of bodily functions.
Sorry.
Ugh. That is the worst smell
Oh my gosh.
ever.
And it's like slightly coated with cotton candy, but it's like bodily fluids.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
Turn it off.
I'm sorry.
Turn it off.
Smell it?
You got some Febreze?
It's literally
Light
the
a
worst.
candle. Oh my gosh, I taste it.
See, it's so strong. I
do not have
Can
very
you
much
drink
back.
those before we shoot?
I need it for energy.
Man.
Oh, I'll do some.
So I was walking. Don't.
No,
I was
it's
like,
gonna-
dude,
it's
if
gonna
you pull that up again. You pull that up again. His body is rejecting. Why is it immediate?
Lorax. I
It's
don't even know
immediate burping. As soon as you drink that energy drink, I don't know if you know that you immediately burp.
Because it's carbonation.
That's too much. When you drink a soda, you don't immediately like. Something is your body's like we don't want. So anyway, I was walking to the car place and I put my phone in my pocket and I put my headphones down and I just walked down the street.
With nothing going on.
Just like Zay was walking when he did. Just walking. And I thought when I was walking, I was like, this is such an unusual occurrence. I'm always either listening to a podcast, music, checking my phone, playing games on my phone. I literally just looked up and walked for 10 minutes and just enjoyed that. I don't do this often, but I used to go out to eat by myself.
I'm learning to do that.
Bodily function McGee.
I'm sorry I had to.
But
call.
I think that's the first step before, and I guess that can be like a version of
so
self-care.
just spending some time alone.
Just be with Doughboy.
Someone commented, they challenged you to journal your emotions down.
And you know what's really good is gratitude lists. Like,
I got a gratitude app on my phone now.
gratitude. Brene Brown was saying gratitude is what offsets that like negative voice in your mind, because some people will jump to, all of this might go away. People with gratitude practice will jump to, I have all of this. I'm so lucky to have
Yes,
it.
and that's what she was saying. The people that are the happiest are the ones that are the most grateful. Melissa and I always talk about that. She has this fear of the other shoe dropping. Because we're in the entertainment industry. You've known Viners who were on and off.
Oh my God.
Who made crazy money on YouTube. Yeah. YouTube changes one thing, it affects their whole life. And should I be doing this? Should I be Ubering when I should be driving? What if it just continues to go well? Or what if you just be thankful for what it is while it is? Like college was great and I had a good time and I had the most fun in my life. And then I moved on. And those memories, are never going to happen again. But then I got my kids. And that's a great, joy to have. And they're healthy and happy. And one of them talks to me. The other one is like, all right.
Okay. All right. So we good?
Yes.
Love ourselves. Okay. So moving on into male masculine toxic
masculinity.
Toxic masculinity. Joel Embiid got dragged on Twitter for crying.
Now here's
after
the thing.
a loss. Now if you don't know who Joel Embiid is, he plays for the 76ers and they just recently
You played for the 70 Snickers. You didn't think it was going to work? I didn't either.
So
But
he
I'm gonna
plays
shoot.
It did.
and they just got ousted by the Toronto Raptors.
Raptors, yeah.
So how do you feel about him being
I
dragged
don't
for
think.
crying?
Okay, so here's my thing. Because I laughed, but I laughed as in it was a funny cry.
He did have an ugly cry.
It was an ugly. It reminded me. I laughed because that's what I used to look like post whooping. Just
that was a
totally defeated. That looked like me walking back to my room after getting beat in the living room and go to your room. And just, You know that Ha Davis meme where he's coming around the corner, he's just like, It was that.
So it wasn't the fact that he was crying.
I'm totally okay with him feeling his emotions. Like basketball is important to him. He wanted to advance.
Right.
Kawhi Leonard hit. That is like a movie
shot
shot.
all time.
Right.
That boom. Boom. And then that last boom, it went out.
Okay.
And then,
As a buzzer beater.
he's 7 feet tall. They did everything right on defense. The first Game 7 buzzer beater in NBA
And
history.
the Toronto's never advance either, man.
And the Raptors never advanced. So I'm okay with him feeling that. And I'm also okay laughing at that.
But see,
cry.
I feel like he got dragged because he was a man and he was crying.
I'm going to tell you something else. That could be true. But he also trolls a lot.
He does.
He trolls other players, other NBA players, and that's all fun and games.
Until it's your
So
turn.
when it's your turn, the internet's not forgiving anyway. But when it's your turn, and that's what I think happened to Aisha Curry a little bit. The internet had a little bit of angst towards her from prior,
like she was
statements.
already tippy-toeing.
And when it's time to get you straight up,
they're gonna take
we're
you every
going
single time.
all in.
Right.
And that's what reminds me. People follow people that they don't necessarily like. Sometimes I feel like just so they can jump on you when it's go time. There's somebody waiting for me to mess up, and I never liked him. There was a pastor, he was an online pastor. He literally had in his Twitter bio, if you don't go to my church, you're going to hell.
What?
But he literally would find any video he didn't like about me and tweet me why he didn't like it. And he was like,
Well, he didn't like you? Who doesn't not like you?
a lot of people. I know. So there's some
Really?
people. Yeah, of course. It's just, that's what the 95 is for. 95% of the people like me, 5% no. There's people who know about me who don't like me, who think I'm corny.
Really?
Yeah. I just accept it. I see post videos of myself and be like, bro, that's trash.
I've never encountered anybody who didn't like you.
Yeah, they exist.
Well, they've never. Well, maybe they just don't say
Who's
it
gonna
to
walk
me.
in and be like, you know who I hate, Doughboy?
Your co-host.
Yeah. But there's people who don't like me. The Aska series, Christians, when I talk to gay people, transgender, anybody who they think is living in open sin, I get called everything but a child of God. They be,
The black Christian community is probably one of the most judgmental.
Yeah.
The older black Christian community.
Megan Good was, this thing that went viral. She was like, man, I can't even go to, they almost broke me. Because her husband's a minister and people got on her. But anyway, people don't like me. And I accept that. But the thing is, thinking about gratitude. There's a lot of people who love me.
Exactly.
And who get it and who understand. And I would just rather focus on them than the people who don't like me. And I'm trying to do that with, if I can get that point in stand up, I'd be great.
Right.
Because it'd be the one person. So I forgot where I was going with this.
We're talking about Joel Embiid crying.
Yeah, I don't think he got dragged. I think he got laughed at because it's funny.
I think it was also the level of the cry, because you could have like a cry like Denzel in Glory, and you could be like, But then if your face just gets to contorting,
you remember Sean Moreno, the Broncos running back who was crying during the national anthem, and it was like the longest.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Right, and Tyrese, he had the one tear after John Singleton passed. They dragged him for that.
But I think it's just I just think whenever men cry, we're gonna.
You just happen to be crying that weekend, so it hit you differently.
I did. I was
it's fine. We can do that. It's okay.
I was like, why are they making fun of him? I too cry.
I cry right now.
I see this mid cry. Like, wait, I'll stand up for you, Joel. I'll speak to this. But no, so maybe they wasn't. Maybe it was just his look,
bro. I think like remember the little mama cry during the Charlamagne interview that became a meme. People were like making like y'all can't make fun of her. Like for a lot of people, that meme had no frame of reference of that interview.
They just seen the cry.
It's just her face. It reminds you of when something happens. You're just like you made that face,
like,
and that's it's that. It's not. Right. It's not.
So it wasn't toxic masculinity at all. It was just look at his
that
face.
Was just
he looks
funny.
Ridiculous, right?
That just was He was just he's a huge dude. He's 7 foot, crying like a 7-year-old.
That is different too to see a grown.
I think two things can be true. I can think you can cry as a man, and I can laugh because you look funny crying.
That's the thing that did kind of make me laugh at myself, because I got a new bed or whatever, so it's kind of higher off the ground. As I was crying, I see that
more snacks under there.
Shut up. I see that my legs were swinging off the bed. I was like, stop it. You either gonna cry or you gonna swing these feet. But you ain't. I looked down like, oh, you're ridiculous. Like, I was like, you one or the other. It's high.
Because you're 6 foot.
Yeah, so my bed is.
So you were through tears, you looked down at your feet.
I just looked down and see my feet. Like, I just stopped.
Why were you moving your feet while you were crying?
I was just like my feet didn't get the memo of what was going on. They were like, we're sad feet.
Sad were you home alone?
I was by myself. So what's my call?
I was making fun of myself, and I do it to myself when I was talking about my brother on Periscope.
And you broke down.
When I
cried when I seen you cry that time.
Did you?
Yeah.
I looked back at
that.
You had to edit
when I was
that.
editing the documentary. That was the first time I saw it. I don't know how I missed it. I was in Starbucks. All of a sudden, I'm like, there's people around me. The tears started flowing. I was like, man, is it hot in here? It's crazy.
The Postmates gonna get here when they get here.
They might not.
Stop in production.
They might mess up again.
Now, this is a perfect segue into the next story. Speaking of blackface, and is it offensive? There is a movie called Loquisha.
Let's just pause here.
Okay.
The title alone.
Loquisha.
Fam.
Okay.
Putting a Q. Fam.
First of all, there's no Loquishas.
No.
I ain't never met a Loquisha.
I always heard the stereotypical black name is Shaniqua.
Or Keisha.
Keisha for sure.
Right.
But Keisha is just a regular name. But it's oh, she's loud and ghetto and black. It's Shaniqua or Shaquanda. That Q, for whatever reason, putting a Q in there just ratchets it up for the whites.
It's like a kickstand for the ratchetness, because there's a kickstand in the Q. So if you guys haven't seen this, there's a movie called Loquisha, and it's about a white man who has to parade around as a black woman
to save his child, so his kid can go to private school. He gets a job sight unseen as a black woman, basically doing like a Dear Abby type radio host thing, where she solicits advice and gives black women gives advice from a black woman's perspective. Okay. And the guy put the trailer out, and he got dragged to Kingdom Come.
Twitter. And people thought that this was racist. I'm going to ask you first. What are your initial thoughts on this?
My initial thought is it didn't look funny. The riskier you're going to be, the funnier it has to be.
So because our motto is funny trumps everything for the most part.
Funny trumps offensive, but that's not always true. Because you can just be offensive, and even if it is funny, it ain't funny. Wow, okay. Right? But his thing, there was no way I was going to find that funny anyway. But if it was funny, I would at least be like, well, at least he
nailed it. Right.
He don't even sound like a black woman. He just sounds like a white man doing a bad version of a black woman. It's not like you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like a good impression. It's just like, girlfriend, I told you, yeah, honey. It's
so you're saying that it's not funny, but is it offensive for him to be doing this as a white man?
Yes.
Were you offended as a black woman?
I'll give you my first thought. It wasn't even an offense. It was surprise and shock. Okay. I thought it was an old clip. Like, oh snap! Man, we used to be wild out here, man. This dude was
Until you
just
seen
like
that 2019
Man,
Prius drive by, like, wait, that's a.
I saw that was coming out this year. I was like, hold on, Loquisha, and then the graphic is like him with a black woman's face on either side of him. By the way, do y'all see our new wall? I just saw it out of the corner of my eye. I forgot. Did we say anything about it? New set alert.
New set alert.
It's coming together.
This is Joshua's idea, by the way.
Yes.
It's not finished, but it's close.
This is Josh's brainchild. I've been waiting for a chance to say the term brainchild. Nice.
Why?
I just wanted to say it, and it worked. So
yeah,
that's how I feel about this.
Okay, cool. Go ahead.
For one, it don't look that funny.
No.
Okay. I'm going to tread lightly. Because
that's hard for you, as heavy as you be.
I get torn to pieces. So this is the thing. I will say that as far as tastefully, I don't think it's that funny. But at the same time, I do have to play devil's advocate at least a little bit.
Always trying to play devil's advocate.
To ask this though. Mm-hmm. Movies like White Chicks.
Oh, I knew it.
Movies like White Chicks come out.
I knew it.
So
by the way, before you make your point, he was like, bro, I could do this. And posted a picture of him and Marlon Wayans because of White Chicks.
And I'm not saying that he can. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying that I at least want to pose the question. Are we not just as offended, or do white women have the right to be upset as how they were portrayed in that way? Because that could be offensive to a white woman.
I'm going to tell you what it is.
Right?
I'm going to tell you the difference between blackface and whiteface.
Okay.
There's no such thing as whiteface. I'm going to tell you why. Blackface historically was white people putting on the black paint, the red lipstick, doing the whole Sambo thing to make fun of people, right? And then Birth of a Nation, they had the white people do blackface, and then the black guys in that movie, he's trying to rape white women. So those kind of, and the president of the United States had a screening for Birth of a Nation when that movie came out. It wasn't even seen as a movie. It was like taken as a documentary. Like, this is what they be trying to do. They're after our women. That one trope of the black man after the white woman is responsible for hundreds of lynchings. Emmett Till's lynching. Oh,
wow. So this, okay.
Emmett Till's lynching was because he was accused of whistling at a white woman. That white woman is still alive and admitted
that she lied.
That she made that up. She just moved to a small town and just like went into anonymity. So blackface had legit consequences for black people and the loss of black life. There's no whiteface thing that had the societal impact of whiteface. White chicks didn't get white women killed.
Got it.
Blackface actually got black men killed.
I didn't even know that.
That is in part of American fabric of society. That's why we say there's no such thing as whiteface. If you're a white woman, you think we don't talk like that in White Chicks. If you want to be offended, that's fine. But there's no danger associated with this. Blackface had a history of racial prejudice and danger and violence to black people. That's why we say that's not funny. Because that's like, that got people killed.
I didn't know that.
Up until recently, people were still getting lynched in the 80s and 90s. Like, it wasn't like hanging from trees, but they were still getting executed. In some ways, they call police brutality modern lynching, but we won't get into that in this way. But that trope alone of the black man after the white woman had so many. All you had to say is, he tried to rape me. So that's why I say there's no such thing.
So the fact of is, so by that rationale, and I never even knew that. So thank you for educating me on that. So then by that rationale, would it be safe to say that it's never okay for white people to mimic black people on camera then?
What do you mean?
Well, because like, let's just say, for instance, Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder. That's blackface. Does that carry the same racial undertones as somebody with the red lipstick and the and I don't think that they're doing that in this movie either.
No. So I think the reason Tropic Thunder gets a pass, and I don't know if it should or not, but I think the reason Tropic Thunder gets a pass is because they were making fun of method actors.
Right.
And Robert Downey Jr.'s character in that movie was a method actor. Okay. And he had won that role. He auditioned, and he was trying to embody what a black person was.
So it was like an inside joke of a joke, like
about acting, right? And I think that's why it gets passed. And it also gets a pass because there was a black character calling it out at the moment it was happening. Because his character,
so it's almost like they were breaking the fourth wall on that.
Right. Okay. It was a commentary on that. Right. And people who do that, I think it was Brandon T. Jackson. Right. And Robert Downey Jr. was like, what do you mean, you people? The guy was like, he said something about you people. Robert Downey Jr. character said, what do you mean you people? And then Brandon T. Jackson says, what do you mean you people?
Right.
So
that was actually a really
that's
great
different than I'm just going to make fun of you. That's a play on a play. And I think that's why it got a pass.
So you feel like Loquisha is following the same blueprint of just making fun of.
I don't know what that guy's intentions were, but I know he shouldn't have done that.
But do you feel like it was racial in what he did? Because I mean, there's one thing to say if it's funny or not. Like none of us think it's going to be funny.
Yeah,
but is that
I think it was
racist?
More stereotypical. Here's another thing about it. Serena mentioned this before we shot. She said, when have you ever heard of a black woman getting a high profile job? Because in the movie, he gets the job sight unseen by just doing the voice. Nobody even checks that. When do you ever see, like, that's the most unbelievable part of the movie, that a black woman get a high paying profile
just because she's a black woman,
just because she can do this voice.
Woman, right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's kind of like Beto O'Rourke. And I know this is way off topic, but kind of not. Do you know, did you see how Beto announced his presidency?
No.
So he did a vanity. You know who Beto is? No. Beto O'Rourke?
I was just like,
okay. Beto O'Rourke, he was a senator candidate. He went against Ted Cruz and he almost won senator seat. I think it was senator seat in Texas.
Okay.
And Texas is like, has been a red state from the beginning of time, like nearly impossible for a Democrat to win. He lost, but he was as close as anybody's ever been.
Got it.
So he's running for president, and his announcement was in the Vanity Fair. He's like in some jeans and a Wrangler's t-shirt, and he's literally standing there by like a pickup truck. And his answer was like, "Why do you think you should be president?" He was like, "I'm just born to be in it." And people were like, "You're just born to be the president? Why? Because you're a white man?" They called him out on that on The View. Why? Because you're the white man? He was like, actually, I can see now how that would have been. Because you have people like Elizabeth Warren who say what you want about Elizabeth Warren. Policies, though, she got some ideas.
She does.
Smartness, she's up there, right?
I don't know who Elizabeth Warren is. I'm not going to continue.
We got to do better about this.
Yes, I don't know.
But she introduced a lot of interesting ideas. She said she wasn't going to do Fox News.
Is she going to run for president?
Okay. She's polling behind Joe Biden by a lot.
Wait, is it official that she's running for president?
Yes.
Elizabeth Warren.
Yes.
I want to look into her policies.
Look into her policies.
Okay.
But basically what people were saying is like, you, in some ways, you think just because you're white, you can do this. You can be the president. And she has to have policy after this and that and that. And when you're a white man, people just think you're electable because the history has been white men. Like when Joe Biden jumped in, he automatically went to the top. He introduced no policy like Elizabeth Warren. I'm just making the point. Yes. And he's polling the highest of all of them. And the point about that I'm making is the black woman, she would never have got that job sight unseen. Right. You'd have to have resume, LinkedIn, references, reels, all that. If anybody were to get a job sight unseen, it's probably a white man.
Right. So that just speaks more to the ridiculous.
That's why you should just leave that stuff alone.
Right.
Man.
And that's the thing. Like I looked at it like it was a poor choice in the movie to be trying to make. However, I didn't feel the racial dragging that I feel like he got. I didn't feel like there's a historical. I was like, that's just a bad idea. I don't feel like you're a racist.
Well, yeah, because in I don't want to say that like that. You're not aware of the historical context of that.
Of blackface.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So you're like, oh man, it's just white chicks in this. Like, but there's no correlation to whiteface and harm.
Got it.
There's like Native Americans, like the stuff that happened to them, like playing cowboys and Indians. And when we were kids, we didn't know what happened. But now when you find out what Thanksgiving really was about, you be like, man, that's.
Sometimes I get thrown off. I mean, to this day, I'll just be like, how is there a team called the Redskins? That just sounds racist.
That dude paid them Redskins? A lot of money. That's racist. That is racist.
And if you see the logo on the Cleveland Indians, it's like completely red.
Yes.
That's racist, man.
Yes. And there's a lot.
It's got to stop.
There's so many racial Native American team names. Think about how many cities. Oh, there's a lot. Blackhawks, Indians, Chiefs. Seminoles. But like the Seminoles in Florida State, they actually partnered, from what I heard, with the Seminole Nation in Florida. Like if you go to Washington, there's so many Native American names. Tacoma's a Native American name.
Really?
Seattle, they changed some letters to make it more readable. But Chief Sealth was the Native American who I don't want to use the word colonized Seattle, but like organized it. I don't know the right word. And they was like, South is kind of hard. We'll call it Seattle. There's Tillicum in Washington, Tallahassee. There's all type of Choctaw.
That's all Native American?
All Native American.
Wow.
And what America did to Native Americans.
Oh man.
Whew. You talk about a doozy.
That's genocide. It was mass genocide.
Literally. The Trail of Tears, the taking of land, like starting from Christopher Columbus, really came over to a land and was like, I discovered this.
There's
mine people
now.
There.
There's already people there living, doing regular
and
things.
you know what? The thing the biggest help that he got?
What?
Smallpox. Native Americans.
They brought that with them, right?
They
all
had
the diseases,
blankets with smallpox on them. Gave those out as gifts. And Native Americans had no
They knew they had smallpox on them?
Oh, yeah.
Smallpox just lived in the blankets?
They had people who had it and they covered with the blanket. Here's a gift. And they had no immunity to it.
That's
and they made a holiday called Thanksgiving
and Columbus Day,
and taught
Columbus
us as kids that the Native Americans and the the Pilgrims and the Indians got along, and it was a straight bloody massacre.
That they all broke bread at the table together.
They all broke bread together as friends. We made our little turkey fingers and our hats. When I was a kid, we made the little Native American hats with the feather.
Do that too.
We did the sound. We didn't even know.
That's cultural appropriation
to the max.
When you're doing that sound, and I'm not going to do it because I don't want to be. That's offensive.
Yes.
But what's crazy is like you're getting taught that as a kid. That's brainwashing.
Yes.
Yeah.
To a child.
Yes. And you don't even know it. You have no reason to question this. I mentioned this on the Love Hour in San Diego. The idea of milk doing a body good is a lie. We were taught that. The idea of the food pyramid is not
bread.
Nothing that
6 to 8 servings of bread a day.
You know who taught that? People who were grain farmers. They taught us that so we would buy more bread.
And now I'm out here trying to do the keto. Like, I've been taught a lie this whole time.
Milk doesn't do a body good.
Neither does bread.
No, but dairy farmers pay for that commercial. We were taught that. We were given milk at school. Drink your milk so you'll have strong bones.
I even remember, this is
osteoporosis.
This is show you how old I am. I remember coming up in the era where they had Big League Chew, which looked just like tobacco.
You had an ice box.
I used to buy that all the time.
And they used to have candy cigarettes.
You talking about stuff that we all remember.
You had it too?
Yes. I used to be
smoking. They have shredded beef jerky.
And then wonder why everybody was growing up smoking cigarettes. And all right, now speaking of times where maybe you can just shut up as well as an option.
Shutting up is always free.
Natasha Tynes, an author who was spending some time on. I'll
set it up. Natasha Tynes, Jordanian American woman, author, works for World Bank and writes books. Lives in the DC area, rides the DC Metro. 3 days ago, she took it upon herself. She saw a DC Metro employee on the train eating. Apparently, there's a rule you're not supposed to eat on the train. Snaps a picture of the girl, says, thought we weren't supposed to eat on the train. Apparently, she asked the lady, and the lady was like, why don't you mind your business? Black woman.
I love that response.
Why don't you mind your business?
Why don't you mind your business stuff?
Natasha should have minded her business. Snaps a picture of the girl, tweets it to the Washington Metro Authority, WMATA, whatever, their Twitter account, and this other Twitter account called Unsuck DC Metro, which is basically a complaint.
A message board to just talk trash.
We just complain, right? So she made the quality mistake people do, say something that they don't realize is controversial, leave their Twitter account alone for hours. She posted that tweet, went on about her day. Much to her chagrin, when she came back to her Twitter account,
it was litty.
Black Women United on Twitter for the dragging. Commence the dragging. First of all, why don't you leave this woman alone? Mind your business. Why would you post her picture online? You call yourself a minority writer. They were saying that minority writers, women of color, always still be having it out for black women.
Even though they be trying to act like they down.
We were all women of color. We're women of color. Why are you black women eating on the train? Okay? They came for her. So much so that Natasha Tynes, author, her publisher was like, we're dropping this book.
Dropped her book?
Dropped her book. The parent company of that publisher who had planned another novel or something like that was like, we not doing
we boo.
We're cool. She comes back to apologize. It's too late to apologize.
You don't get to choose your consequences.
One more thing that's funny though. The black woman who was eating on the train, you know why she was eating? She was on her lunch break. She only had 20 minutes. And a train had broken down. So in order to make sure she got to her shift on time,
she had to slam that lunch.
She slammed that lunch down or breakfast down, whatever, on the train. Her job was like, oh yeah, this is why she did that. There's no disciplinary action. Even there was disciplinary action, it wasn't a fireable offense. It was maybe like a counseling for a first time offense. Her union was like, bro, this
shut up.
Shut up. So
what's her name again? Natasha
Tynes. She deleted her Twitter account too.
You think?
Damn it.
Might as well have
Sometimes
left
you
it at
gotta
that
just
point.
know how to. We've talked about this so many times. Sometimes there is immense power in just shutting up.
Let me tell you.
Just cease to speak.
My list came out. Let me tell you. Let me tell you what's so interesting though. It would never even, regardless of race, it would never cross my mind to be like, you're doing something wrong. Let me tell your boss. Let me snap a picture of you.
Why?
And they're eating. It's not
Who
like
cares?
It's not like you're spray painting
Unless you're
graffiti.
eating like raw fish.
right.
Blood's going everywhere. She was eating like a breakfast sandwich.
That's like a Facebook mom move.
Yes. Like who cares? I might text, man, people was eating on the train. It smells weird. At the most. I'm not going to try to get somebody reprimanded.
And then it's just like, what really has to go on in your mind to want to get someone in trouble?
Right.
Like, you know that there's a consequences coming for this. You added her job. That's like just telling somebody's supervisor, hey, man, you know they took 17 minutes instead of 15.
That always sticks with Doughboy.
jerk.
That happened to his job one time and he never forgot it.
They wrote me up for that
But here's the thing. She tried to get that girl fired.
and got herself fired.
She lost a book
Oh,
deal.
stupid self.
A book deal.
Go sit down somewhere. Go write about that.
The rise and fall of the Metro.
All that
The day I
happened
lost my job.
in one day. She tweeted that. They responded that she's fine. She lost both publishers that had worked on her book, both dropped her all in the same day.
Okay, as much as we're making a joke about Natasha, and that's ridiculous, I do feel like the world is changing too much. I don't feel like she deserved to lose all of that. That's a lot.
Yeah, but
Is that a lot to just be telling on somebody? Yeah,
No,
but
but
does the
at the
punishment?
same
You
time,
tried to
it
get her
reflects-
fired though.
there was a negative intent.
There was
initially,
a negative intention
and
for that action.
When you start working for other people and start getting deals lined up, it's not just a reflection of you anymore. You're reflecting the brand. Like if
Bingo.
you did something bad that reflected Kev's entire tour or something, best believe something's gonna happen. I don't know what's
Bye.
gonna. Same with me too.
This is true.
Because that
If you
interrupts his bag.
Did something egregious, this podcast will be over. All ties will be severed. Because I got other stuff that I'm doing too.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And if association with you say, hey, people are like, hey, no, I'm not watching his YouTube videos. I'm not coming to see his shows because he's associated with that guy. I can't feed my kids.
Nah, I
no harm,
understand.
no foul.
It'd be the same way. If you
Same
messed
way.
up, I'd be like, man, ratchet and ratchet.
And I was just about to say, if I did something wild
Right.
and it was messing up your other deal, you got other shows outside of me, and they're like, hey, if you associate with him, we can't have you on the show. You'd be like, who? I don't know nobody named Kevin. I don't even do that podcast. I never liked him, if you want to be honest. I just said all that stuff because we was working together. So I know the same thing for job. Like we
Right.
all work together. So when there is freedom of speech, but there's not freedom from consequences.
Bars.
If you
That's a
reflect
bar.
me, yeah,
That's a bar.
yes. And that's what happens. Even if we owned say we own everything outright, right? If we did something, both of us did something stupid, right? Punch some kids. Audio, the people who sponsor our podcast, they're gonna be
Yeah.
like, people are not gonna advertise with y'all.
Yeah.
YouTube will be like when that Logan Paul thing happened, that's a great example. Logan Paul did that suicide forest video in Japan. His action had a negative reflection of the entire YouTube community.
Yeah.
They had adpocalypse for everyone.
Adpocalypse.
Literally everyone suffered because of his action. His money never gonna go back to the same. He was on Google Preferred, which is the premium
That's
select,
the big money.
the biggest ads. He probably bringing in hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions a year. Hundreds of thousands, at least tens of thousands a month. Actually, probably hundreds of thousands. Because we know some people that were
the
nowhere near
numbers.
as big as him
Right.
bringing in 40, 50. He probably bringing in hundreds of thousands of dollars. YouTube was like, bro, you're not finna mess up our ad. Because there was ad companies pulling out of YouTube overall. Like Coke, Netflix. We can't advertise on your site if you can't police that. Oh, word? All the ads are off. Any
The comments,
Everybody
remember the
does.
comments
on my
are
current
still off
YouTube
on
page.
yours.
It's basically a result of things like Logan Paul. Stuff that I had nothing to do with is affecting me.
The world is
So
changing.
you think a person at that girl's publisher is like, we got other books to sell.
You got to stop the bleeding.
Because that's the thing about that happens on the internet. Natasha Tynes' publisher is, I don't remember what it's called, but say it's, Bird Lights
Such and
Publishing.
such, yeah.
They're publishing her book. I'm not buying her book. Y'all shouldn't publish it. And if you don't not publish it, I'm not going to buy his book. Who's it? Josh got a book coming. I'm not buying nothing. They're like, bruh, bye,
What
Natasha.
girl? Who?
No, who?
More like Natasha.
Nay, who?
Bye.
See what I did
Well,
there?
it's two bad jokes at the
Nah,
same
who?
time.
Nah, who?
But that's not her whole name.
Shutting up is always free. Mind
do
your
that.
business.
Yeah.
And shut your
Let
mouth.
the woman eat, man.
Let the woman eat her lunch.
I wonder,
man.
was I the only person thinking about what was on that breakfast sandwich?
Man,
I'm very
it
much
caused a
hungry.
bunch of uproar. I was hungry when I read it. I was hoping it was a bacon, egg, and cheese with a little bit of mayo.
Nah, mayo and bacon and eggs.
I like mayo.
A quick swipe, mayo. Why not,
Mayo
man?
on a breakfast sandwich?
Oh yeah.
Bacon, egg, cheese, a sliver
With
of the mayo.
mayo?
Man, when we used to go to
Bodegas.
Jerry's
Oh, I was talking about
at
this bodega,
ADD,
too.
bodegas too. Just a sliver of the mayo.
Man.
Not too heavy. I like mayo though.
I miss that Jerry spot, man.
Oh man, I go visit them
PBJs.
sometime. A lot of black people get flack for liking mayonnaise. I like it. I like Miracle Whip too.
Not really into it.
You're Miracle Thick.
Shut up. This has been another episode of Righteous and Ratchet.
and righteous and ratchet.
Did we have another read before we got out of
No
here?
more ads. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to continue the conversation with the Patreon people while we have lunch before our staff meeting. But the rest of y'all, we love you.
Come join the Right Pack.
We'll see you next Wednesday. Patreon, stick around for the post cap.
Yeah.
Bye bye.